It's going to be the package from China and maybe the ultimate one. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in today's video we're going to be doing a chit chat about the PlayStation Portables from SumoShop. So there was also a little bit of a confusing situation in my previous video, but I also actually wanted to talk about that. And it was particularly with the PlayStation, the newer edition, where it was a little bit confusing and I didn't remove the sticker, giving it a little bit of a weird situation regarding the model version. However, in this video we're going to be talking about both of the models. Why? Because these are like maybe the modified and the coolest devices when it comes to the PlayStation Portable. But in here we're getting a complete kit with all kinds of upgrades and everything that we're going to be needing for using the PlayStation Portable for many years to come. So what are we getting actually in the package? We're having over here the nice PlayStation Portable sleeve. Then we're having the charger. This is not an original one, by the way, but doesn't matter. If it works, it works. And the PlayStation Portable itself in a nice protection case. So the case itself is very nice quality, but let's open it up and let's see what are we getting in the inside too. So in here we're having everything like extra goodies, including in crystal case, and do not update the system. Yeah, that has to do with the custom firmware doesn't here. Otherwise you're going to be messing up the system. And of course we're having some cool like key rings and even a screen protector if you want to implement them on your device. So in here we're finding the Sumo, the logo, the key ring, the stickers and the business card. But what is up with the PlayStation Portable? Yeah, so this thing has been upgraded, software but also hardware. So I don't know if we're going to be using this crystal case. It's an extra protection case. Yeah, man, it not makes it more comfortable to use, but I understand that these things can be interesting to use. Another thing is, will this thing be opening up and will it also be playing games? It is possible that it doesn't work. Not going to be a bigger problem because you can play every single game now from an SD card. Alright, so let's remove this thing and let's take a close look at the device itself. It's like playing with the Transformers. Ah, crap. Ah, shit. The only thing I needed to do is click it open here so we can just fold it open. And the reason I want to remove it, because I'm just going to be honest, I didn't like it at all, just to see how they refurbish and how this thing looks. And you can just see that this thing is brand new condition. But in this video I just wanted to check about this PlayStation Portable 3000. And the 3000 is going to be having this very nice fancy bag that I'm not going to be using with the PlayStation Portable for some other stuff. However, we're getting these plastic containers that you're going to be having around your device. I'm not the biggest fan of these plastic, but yeah, if you want to keep it scratch free, you can actually use one of these things. It gives a little bit of extra grip, but I'm not going to be using it today. Comes with a power supply, 5-volt charger. And then of course with thank you for the purchase when it comes to the SumoShop. And yeah, when it comes to this, so we're going to be talking about the PlayStation, PlayStation Portable, but not your typical one, because this is a fully modified version. So nowadays we can find PlayStation Portables on all kinds of different variations. Yep, we have like 1000 to 3000 Go, and I think it's also the Street. So where I have a couple of them complete in box with working UMD, you can modify these things and do some really cool things with it. And there we're going to be having a chit chat about the Sumo versions. So the first thing that we're going to be doing to begin with is removing the sticker. That was one of my biggest mistakes because you couldn't really see what is going on. So the reason I didn't do that, because I was thinking, hey, there isn't this cool sticker on it and this would be like a fun thing just to show like as it is. But what I understand of, and that's one of my mistakes, is that this thing is just actually in protection. It's kind of an extreme protection for the shell. However, let's remove this piece of freaking plastic and let's showcase what's underneath, because a lot of people were confused about the, let's say, shell, thinking that it's actually in 2000 model. But yeah, this is just a 3000 model. Also when it comes to the shell, it's quite difficult to see when the sticker is on, but also when it comes, let's say, to the mold itself. This is a translucent edition, and you know, that makes it even more difficult to see. So when it comes to the package, what's also included, I also mentioned that in my full video, but let's remove all the stickers. And I'm going to be doing this off camera because, oh man, this is going to be a lot of ASMR peeling. So one of the things I'm very happy with, by removing the stickers, you can see, or at least also feel, there is no, let's say, sticky residue. So this is indeed a good sticker. But after removing the PlayStation Portable 3000 sticker, man, this thing looks freaking awesome. I really love this translucent, but they have all kinds of different colors. The see-through case is absolutely awesome, but what I understand of the UMD drive doesn't work at this point. So yeah, it will be even more cooler if you're going to be putting in a game, and you can just put it in there for show. I think it still spins when you're going to be powering it on. But yeah, let's be honest, it looks absolutely awesome when it comes to that. So when it comes to the shell itself, the overall quality is quite nice. You can actually see it when you're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison. And I must say that we're having like a very long travel. I must say I find this micro switch button really sensitive and really satisfying. But not to the point that you're going to be touching it. Think about like a Samba arcade button. If you're going to be still have like a little bit of wiggle room, also a little bit wiggle through the button itself, but not to the point that it's going to be annoying. It's a little bit more wiggly than the original one. You can see over here. But you know, it's still very comfortable, and I think I even prefer this over the original over here. But when you're going to be looking into the shell itself, yeah, there are similarities, but it's going to be slightly different because of the micro switch D-pad and the buttons. And also when it comes to, let's say, the way how they look, but also how they're actually placed. I already showed guys like closed up that they're like slightly raised when it comes to, let's say, the particular original one, but the shell, I don't know if they're like using original shells or how it's going to be working, but when it comes to, let's say, the form factor, particularly when it comes to the sides and everything, it's slightly difficult to see because of the translucent shell. But if you're going to be picking like a silver color, you can actually see that it is just an original format when it comes to, let's say, everything. When it comes to, let's say, the shell format and everything else. But if you're going to be looking into the shell itself, I think it's quite difficult to actually notice. So first of all, like in the main video, I had like the sticker on, but if you're going to be doing side by side, you can actually see is that the shell design is going to be similar to an original 3000. And I think that is quite a little bit difficult to actually see, but this thing is actually a 3000 when it comes to that. But not to the point that you're going to be touching it. Think about like a Samba arcade button. If you're going to be still have like a little bit of wiggle room, also a little bit wiggle through the button itself, but not to the point that it's going to be annoying. It's a little bit more wiggly than the original one. You can see over here. But you know, it's still very comfortable, and I think I even prefer this over the original over here. But when you're going to be looking into the shell itself, yeah, there are similarities, but it's going to be slightly different because of the micro switch D-pad and the buttons. And also when it comes to, let's say, the way how they look, but also how they're actually placed. I already showed guys like closed up that they're like slightly raised when it comes to, let's say, the particular original one, but the shell, I don't know if they're like using original shells or how it's going to be working, but when it comes to, let's say, the form factor, particularly when it comes to the sides and everything, it's slightly difficult to see because of the translucent shell. But if you're going to be picking like a silver color, you can actually see that it is just an original format when it comes to, let's say, everything. When it comes to, let's say, the shell format and everything else. But if you're going to be looking into the shell itself, I think it's quite difficult to actually notice. So first of all, like in the main video, I had like the sticker on, but if you're going to be doing side by side, you can actually see is that the shell design is going to be similar to an original 3000. And I think that is quite a little bit difficult to actually see, but this thing is actually a 3000 when it comes to that. But color-wise, that is of course optional and something you need to decide what is going on if you're going to be wanted to have like a translucent or just a plain color. But then we're having both of the different models. Which one is my personal favorite? Yeah, so I did like quick comparisons in many different ways. So where both of these devices are absolutely awesome, but when it comes to, let's say, the form factor, but also when it comes to, let's say, the display, there are a lot of differences. Of course, I did upgrade of the PSP3000 when it comes to the micro switch buttons, so that's going to be a night and day difference when it comes to just playing the overall games. But you can actually buy with the original buttons and the membranes, so we're going to be having then the same overall experience. Of course, both models are a completely different generation, when the 1000 is absolutely one massive brick, but it comes with an absolutely beautiful IPS, where the 3000 model here actually has all kinds of, say, other cool features now. Of course, the display is going to be a little bit weird on the camera. I don't know if the camera doesn't really pick it up that perfectly, but the display looks absolutely stunning in real life. Well, how about the menu? What are we getting? So first of all, when you're going to be looking into the main menu, so we're having all kinds of preset folders. And in here we're having all kinds of different games that we can just find. So I think it's always going to be a situation that your favorite game will not be in here, or you can actually find the one, but it's always kind of difficult to have like the perfect list when it comes to that. So we can do all kinds of cool things with these devices nowadays. I just wanted to do a quick overview, and I must say that when it comes for playing games, I must say that I don't really miss out on the micro switch ones that I have on the other model. The overall experience, it's a lot of fun, loading times are faster, and this way we can just fairly easy switch between games. Of course we're going to be needing to play a little bit of a Wipeout. Man, I love this game. But so when it comes for playing this game, I must say the overall experience is so much different than having the normal, let's say, D-pad. I've been playing some fighting games with a D-pad, and I can tell you that the response was absolutely fabulous. But now I'm more like, is it going to be perfect for every single game? So far, I must say that I'm very pleased with the overall response of the D-pad. But yeah, playing between both of these devices with PlayStation Portable games, you know, it's quite difficult actually to say like, hey, which one is going to be my favorite one. So we can actually play also PlayStation 1 on the PlayStation Portable. It is something of a very special thing, not really, because now we do have so many freaking devices that can play the PlayStation 1. Think about those like 40 bucks AliExpress devices. And you know, where we do have this beautiful widescreen IPS panel, now with those cheaper devices, we also have like the perfect resolutions, like 60 by, I think it was 640 by 640 by 480, if I'm saying it correctly. I have a brain fart here. However, also the screen resolution is perfect for those particular games. Because now we do have only a 4:3 aspect ratio now. We can actually mess around with it if you want to. So, but when it comes to the audio, visual and everything, this is just a fun overall experience. And I think it's absolutely cool to have these games on the PlayStation Portable. Woo! Can we do the drifting? Can we do the drifting? Yeah! But do you want to play PlayStation 1 games? You don't really need a PlayStation Portable for that. Because let's be honest, I think it's a very cool extra. So when we're going to be trying this game on the PSP, this newer model, I must say the audio itself is less loud, and I think that's the biggest problem of this particular model. That's why I really prefer to have like the PlayStation Portable 1000 model. But if you're going to be just playing now with a micro switch, it's indeed a way different experience because of the resistance, of course, the micro switch itself. Doing drift is no problem whatsoever. But you know, when you're actually going to be playing, I must say, when it comes to, let's say, just the look of the display itself, it will be fun to have like a side-by-side comparison, because not only the audio, but also when it comes to the visual part, which is now actually better. So you can just see that when it comes to also the display, the way how they assemble it, the case, everything, it's completely different with both models. With this newer version, you can actually see there's not a lot of space between, let's say, the front glass and the display, making this such an overall different experience to look at. I don't know if the camera actually picks it up, but if you're going to be looking closely to an angle, you can see that there is a little bit, let's say, room between the front glass and the LCD display itself, giving this thing such an overall interesting but different gaming perspective. And color-wise, you can actually see that also here we have like, there's not like a winner to me, where this thing is super bright thanks to the IPS panel. It looks absolutely amazing when it comes to the colors and everything, the sharpness. But when it comes to the colors, you can actually see that the green is so much greener on this particular display. So it's quite difficult to say like which model is going to be my favorite when it comes to the display itself. But beside the display and everything else, I say that one of the cool things is the audio, because the audio levels that we're going to be having such a big difference. And I think that is one of the things that you need to take consideration if you found audio very important to you. Or at least I love it too when it comes to good audio. And if you're going to be doing the side by side, you can just actually hear the overall quality is good, but the loudness of this one is not going to be that loud. So this is a clear, let's say example of the both models of the audio and visual quality. And then of course we're having the different kind of emulators, where the Super NES is at this point unplayable, where I do have a lot of different devices that can actually play played, and I think that's kind of cool for just playing these old school games. It's just an extra. But emulation of, let's say, other devices, think about Sega, that seems to be working just fine. I think the aspect ratio implemented, I think it's kind of cool to just experience the old school games. DJ Boy, man, this is such a cool game. I've been playing that back in the day so much. I think it was ported from the arcade. I just wanted to see how it is going to be playable when it comes to, let's say, the D-pad, because the analog stick isn't configured. The micro switches are responding just fine. But if you want to get into the main menu, you can press the PlayStation button. Some of them do need to press select and start, and in here we can make a quick load, quick save, mess with configuration and everything else. We boot it up like that, and now we're having the Game Boy games ready to go. But so far I can just see and hear there is nothing wrong when it comes to, let's say, the emulation itself. Pressing the left shoulder button will give you the option. So here we can reset the game, make a screenshot, loading the game, and just exit over here. And that's how it actually works when it comes to the Game Boy Classic gaming. And also the Famicom seems to be running just fine on this. There are so many different devices that we can actually play, but there's a fun addition to the PlayStation Portable that we do have the option to play all kinds of retro games besides the PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation 1 stuff. Let's see, put this thing on the brighter setting. But personally, I just love to use this thing on setting number 3. Yeah, there we go. Slap him with a stick. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one to record because of all of the lighting. Let's see if I can easily turn something off because it's so pitch dark when it comes to, let's say, the particular game. There we go. That's going to be much better. So this is more like this very strange Left 4 Dead clone. Don't know what's going on, but okay, stop doing that. Oh, I guess I remember playing the first shooting games on this, but I cannot really get used to this freaking controls. Oh, the slided joystick, I hate it. Oh, get out of my... Get away, go away, go away, go away, go away. But this is a fun game to actually try out and to mess around with. There we go, I can buy weapons, seems to be, but I have no idea how. No ammo. Oh crap, I'm doomed. Oh! There are many different ways to play, but when it comes to the PlayStation Portable, you can find all kinds of different fully, let's say, refurbished and modified versions. It would be fun to check out what's out there and more. I know there's a lot of, let's say, weirdness going on when it comes to the PSP3000 model. It seems to be that there are like 2000 completely, let's say, reformed to 3000 models. I asked them if this is going to be the case here, but that is not what's going on. If I want to make sure, I should like rip them apart, but I'm not feeling actually doing that. So let me know what you think of the PlayStation Portable. I think it's still a very cool way to play. And again, this particular model can be bought without, let's say, the micro switch if you don't want that. Personally, I love this 1000 brick. It's still one of my favorite ones, and with the IPS panel, it looks absolutely great. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, and it will be great to see you in the next video.